Let's talk about multiplying and dividing surds. Alright, so when you multiply two surds together, right? So let's say it's square root x times square root y. This is the same as square root x times y. More generally, if you had like a square root x times b square root y, then this is equal to ab square root xy. And if you don't get what's going on here, I'll give you an example. Here we have square root 2 times square root 3. So all you want to do is times the numbers together, okay, according to this rule right here. So if you have two square roots timesing each other, then it's the same saying square root the two numbers times. So like for example, this would be square root 2 times 3, okay, which is equal to root 6. Now, you don't really have to write that first line, okay? You can jump straight into the second line if you want. That first line is to demonstrate what's happening. Here we're asked to multiply 2 root 3 times 3 root 15. So, in this question, right, what you want to do, according to this rule, the second one, is you times the numbers in front together, okay? That's what AB means. So, we have 2 times 3, that's 6, okay? And then you want to square root the numbers in the surds together, okay? You want to times those two together. So, 3 times 15, that is 45. Now, we're not done here yet. You can simplify square root 45, okay? So this would be 6 square root. And then you have to split this into a square number and another factor. So you can split this into 9 times 5, okay? And this is equal to 6 times square root 9 times square root 5, okay? So I can split this into two separate pieces according to this rule, this first one, okay? And then this is going to be equal to 6 times 3 times root 5. And then finally, 18 root 5. Now, if you really want to, you can skip these two lines. Sorry. Yeah, these two lines. You don't really have to write them, but I'm just writing it so it's more clear to see what's really happening. Alright, so when you're dividing surds, right, let's say you had square root x divided by square root y, you can actually put a big square root and then have x over y, okay? Okay. In a more general sense, you will have a square root x over b square root y is equal to a over b square root x over y, okay? And I'll go through an example of this. All right, so here we have minus square root 10 divided by square root 2. So according to this rule, okay, so root x over root y is the same as root x divided by root y, just to let you know. And so you can essentially use this rule, okay, where you can put them under one big fraction, all right? And this will be equal to negative root 5. And if you're wondering why there's a negative in front, right, and why the negative is not in the surd, I explained it very poorly in the video, so this is a voiceover. But essentially, the negative is not in the surd because the negative wasn't in the surd originally. Okay, if it was, then you put the negative in the surd. You also realize that you can't do square root of a negative, kind of. Okay, there's something called imaginary numbers, and I'm not gonna go into that. But essentially, for now, just don't put a negative in a square root. Okay, it's not gonna work. All right, let's look at this one. So the way I usually do this, right, is you kind of want to separate the numbers in its own. So the numbers in front of the surds on its own and the square roots on its own. So like we have 12 over 3, okay, square root, and then these numbers will be joined together under a fraction. And so you can simplify all of this. And so we have 12 over 3, which is 4. 18 over 3, that is just root 6. Then I'm done.